I feel a storyline that has been going surprisingly under the radar is the situation going on in New Orleans. The Saints have had Drew Brees as their quarterback the past 15 seasons. Some Saints fans might not have even remembered the last time someone was behind center. After an emotional send-off that had me choked up, like everything, things have to keep rolling. And this is a team that should absolutely be talked about because they're coming off a very impressive 12-4 season, and now they have a younger gunslinger who's a former Heisman and #1 overall pick taking the helm. They still have one of the best coaches in all of football and a loaded roster. So today we're going to cover what we should expect from Jameis this year, the Saints in general, and talk about their chances in the division and in the playoffs. And go over really quickly, yes, I know there's a quarterback battle going on right now, but unless I'm completely fooled, I think I'm almost positive they're going to go with Jameis. Taysom Hill did play quarterback in college. In the games he played last year, I was actually very impressed. I just don't see him being the long-term solution for this team, nor do I think he would do nearly as well once other teams got some more film on him. I think he did really well, all things considered, and the Saints would still be a very good team with him at quarterback. But on top of that, I still don't think you can replace what he does for that team. When he comes in at tight end, running back, quarterback, receiver, special teams, it adds such an element that no other team in the NFL has, and you lose that and waste Jameis if you start him. And so that's why the rest of the video I'll solely be talking about Jameis at quarterback, even though we might see Taysom come in for some plays or drives depending on the situation. So to understand Jameis, we have to look at who he was as a player his 5 seasons with the Bucs. And it's human nature for everyone just to remember the last thing that happened. So everybody remembers Jameis for the 30 for 30 season, where he threw 33 touchdowns, but also had 30 interceptions. But this season I think was doomed from the very start when Jameis was already on thin ice and they brought in Bruce Arians, who yes, has had a ton of success in the NFL and is the quote-unquote quarterback whisperer, but he also has a very common trend that follows him. This is a quarterback in Bruce Arians' system in their first year often had very high interception rates. That is until Tom Brady, but we're not here to compare Jameis to the GOAT. But even early on for Tom, he was figuring out the very, very deep and dense playbook and struggled sometimes with the lack of motion and checkdowns. So we have to look at the tangibles that Jameis has. Starting with the obvious arm talent, we've always known he can make every throw, but he also has great pocket presence, and although not a mobile quarterback, he's very tactful when he moves around, usually looking to pass, but has the awareness to run around, throw his body to get key first downs. He will make the plays that will leave you absolutely speechless, and then one drive later, question if he got bribed by the other team to throw the game because he makes some of the most boneheaded throws of all time. This has always been a huge part of the Jameis situation. Every Bucs fan knows he's incredibly talented and was absolutely talented enough to go out there and be the best quarterback on the field and win every game. But they also know he was the sole reason for multiple losses. And after a season where he put up 5,100 yards, which only 8 other quarterbacks in NFL history have ever done, and 33 touchdowns, he was released. So what does an extremely talented quarterback with major flaws do? Where do they go? This has to be one of the most humbling experiences of Jameis Winston's life, and it really has to be a turning point for him because he can either revitalize his career or become one of the biggest #1 overall busts in recent memory. This is a huge reason why I think he's going to come out and have a ton of success, because what he did was absolutely the perfect choice and was a very, very mature thing to do. Being the Heisman and #1 overall pick and being released is very humbling, borderline humiliating, but he swallowed his pride and even took it one step further. He didn't go out for the starting role I knew he could have gotten. He didn't even go with the option that made him the most money. He decided to go and play for the Saints, which he knew he would be a backup, and it was a lot less money than he was offered in other places. So why would he do this? I believe he's a very self-aware person, and he realized his obvious flaws, and he wanted to make the best football decision. And that would be go and learn from Drew Brees, a Mount Rushmore quarterback, for a year, and go to a franchise that has a winning culture, a great roster, and a Hall of Fame coach in Sean Payton. He wanted to learn to fix his mistakes, become a more efficient and dynamic quarterback, and spending a full year in the film room with Drew and Sean must have been so amazing. Drew Brees has been terrorizing this league for years, being shorter, smaller, and less arm talented than everyone else. Jameis is much more physically gifted. He's never going to be Drew Brees, but if he's able to take 20% and knows how to apply it, then we're looking at a new kind of monster. What he has learned a year off of football is a huge reason why I think he's going to have a breakout season and immense success. People aren't going to recognize him as the same player because I don't think he's going to be the same player. He's going to be completely different. Being a gunslinger is one thing, but what makes Mahomes, Stafford, and Rodgers MVP candidates, and why people separate them from people like Jameis Winston is their decision making. Okay, and I promised myself I wouldn't mention this, but I feel like I have to, is that Jameis Winston on the Bucs was blind as a bat. He literally couldn't see a thing. He was squinting so hard to see anything coming from the sideline. He did get LASIK eye surgery last year, and that has to be mentioned because he can actually see now. And he's going to have a lot of help as well. In Tampa Bay, he did have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. We all know are two very elite receivers in this game. But with the Saints, I think he's going to have a ton of pressure taken off him and when he's figuring everything out. I mean, the Saints went 5-0 2 years ago with Teddy Bridgewater, and they went 3-1 with Taysom Hill at quarterback last year. This is because they have a great offensive line. Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas are some of the best the league has to offer at their positions. And we're going to have some more questions about the Saints when it comes to their defense. I think the Saints have always been synonymous with having good defenses, but this offseason, they found themselves in some salary cap issues and had to release or couldn't re-sign some major pieces on their defense. So the jury's still out for how much defensive help he's going to get, but I am so excited to see what kind of season Jameis can put together, and I wish more people were talking about it. But I think the biggest thing for me was Jameis's mindset going in. He showed me to be very mature and humble. He is an all-time talent who can put up ridiculous numbers and make every throw. I think he has learned a ton this offseason and has the potential to take the reins of a very good team and win a lot of games this year. Unfortunately for Jameis, the Bucs team that he left behind picked up the GOAT and made a god squad of a team, and he has to play them twice a year. But the Saints should be competitive in every single game they play this year. I think they will make the playoffs, and we're going to have to check back in later to see who they're matched up against. But let me know what you guys think. I do think this is something that's been interesting because I don't think it's being talked about enough. When we talk about the contending teams, why shouldn't the Saints be thrown in there? They have all the pieces. I think Jameis is going to come back and be almost unrecognizable for how much better decisions he's making, because if he learns from Drew Brees anything, it's going to be everything that goes on pre-snap. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure to like the video if you like videos like these. Make sure to comment down below what you think of the Saints are going to be this year, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for checking out the channel, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.